All right, so lately I found myself in way too many debates about whether or not to clean 78s in an ultrasonic cleaner. And the arguments for not are, well, I don't know, to me they sound a bit like conspiracy theories. I was like, your 78s are going to fall apart to mush, or they're super porous, or there's going to be little cracks in there that no one sees. And then when they come out of the ultrasonic cleaner, they'll be cracked and destroyed. I have cleaned so many 78s in my ultrasonic cleaner, and yes, there are some that go in with cracks, and I'll tell you, they don't come out less cracked. But I have yet to have any with some sort of invisible crack made worse by the ultrasonic cleaner. So what I figured I would do is I would clean 10 records in my ultrasonic cleaner. I'd let everyone see what these records are. Nothing super highly prized. Oh, this is the other thing. Columbia's, because they're laminated. Let's see, is there any visible? No, there isn't, but I do have some visible side scuffs on one of these ultra rare Bing Crosby's. Anyway, I'll put that through the cleaner. The ultrasonic cleaner does not get in here. It does not expand the whole thing and turn it into mush. It's funny because it's not like the people who are saying never clean 78 in an ultrasonic cleaner like work for a different company. And at the same time, it's not like I work for any sort of ultrasonic cleaner company. I mean, these things are ridiculous. They're made in China. I'm not from there. Do not use this unit when the tank is not to fill the water. I mean, I couldn't have even told you what the brand is because every one of these that comes out has the same thing, and they just change these to anyway. I'm not in it to change anyone's mind, but it just drives me nuts when people just throw around, baseless things. So I've got a batch of records here that I just pulled out. You can see that they all have some sort of just need for clean, and get all the old needle filings and all the stuff that's in there out. I'm gonna throw a few vinyl records in here as well. Look at that. This is the first LP ever made. This is the Frank Sinatra, voice of Frank Sinatra. I found it in an album of records. The vinyl itself is in pretty nice shape. It needs a cleaning, obviously. It doesn't have the cover, which is too bad. I already have 2 copies of this, so I'm going to throw this one in. I imagine there might be someone out there who has a decent cover, does not have the vinyl, might want that for their collection. I'm going to clean it for them. And you know what? It's not going to disintegrate. Although, if at the end of all this, I clean these and there is any damage to these records that I did not see, I will definitely let people know, because again, I'm not in this for any monetary gain, and I do not make any money in selling ultrasonic cleaners, or I don't even post links to this stuff, so I've got no skin in this game. I'm just trying to make people's lives easier, and I've been loving cleaning 78s in here. The 78s I clean are ones that I listen to. There's no like degradation a year later. I guess I should start with a record being played before and after. This is later. I'd have to play this on a modern player. Actually, I don't think any of the records that I showed were anything that I would put on my credenza even. These all seem to be 40s. So I'm gonna put these on my Garrard. Okay, so here is my Enric Madriguera and orchestra record. This will be to see if we have any fidelity loss. This is on a Garrard Type A. It's actually running through a Magnavox amplifier. And I'll play a before and after of this one. You can see that there's a spot in here. It's a bit of mold or something. that's probably good. I will do a comparison, and when this is all done and the record is dry, I will play that again. That was the section that had the growth spot. You know what? I'm going to say that even if there is no difference in sound for the better, I'm still going to want to clean these, because who wants to have this stuff hanging around on their discs? Now, if the quality is worse, that would certainly be an issue. People talk about the black stuff they find in the bottom of their ultrasonic cleaner once they're done. And yeah, you're gonna find that. People played these records on steel needle phonographs. The shellac was meant to wear away at the needle, and where does it go? It's not like it blows off in the air, it stays in the groove. So that stuff is being washed off and is making its way down there. Plus, there is actual visible grunge on this, more so than on LPs. And so you're going to find stuff in the bottom that's actually what you want. Now, some folks seem to think that that is shellac from the actual grooves, like being knocked off the sidewalls or something. I mean, you know what? We'll play this through. We'll see if any of these come out cracked. You are all seeing these records as important. I'm not gonna swap any out. I am not an ultrasonic cleaner salesperson. Amazon does that just fine. These Decas are the most fragile records in existence. They crack just looking at them. So we'll see how this goes. These RCA Victors aren't quite as bad as the Decas, but it certainly seemed that the more into the 40s and 50s we got, the more likely we were to get fragile records. Great tune, of course, introduced to it by Jimmy Buffett, but the K. Kaiser version of Slow But to China is great. You can see this has got a bunch of grunge along the side. This is a Columbia laminated record. I find a lot of times when people are pontificating about what an ultrasonic cleaner is going to do to their record, they're just, I don't know, it's almost like there's a glee in imagining the possibilities, and because Columbias have that sort of cardboardish label, people assume that the water is going to get in there and it's going to just expand and explode. Anyone who saw my video of ultrasonic cleaning an Edison diamond disc, no, and I still have that diamond disc and it's still in the exact same shape. They don't just explode and turn into mush. That kind of stuff happens after prolonged exposure in a basement or in a garage or in a barn. And that has never happened. I have a record collection. I sell records I don't listen to. I only keep records I listen to. And I have cleaned every record that I have listened to and continue to listen to this way. Continue to clean your records with dish soap and a brush. Continue to use the little spin clean thing. That is fine. But don't tell people that baselessly that this is going to destroy the record. So, it's a basin full of water. Do not use Simple Green. It has alcohol in it. I have dish soap and water in here. I've got the heat set to 40 degrees Celsius, 6 minutes on the timer. Sometimes I do 8. You know, I'll go with 7. These buttons are backwards from where you would think they would be. So I'll do 7 minutes on the timer, and we're gonna lower this down. A friend of mine just actually got me set up with graduated. Oh, see, before there was just a push button here and it went super fast. A friend of mine ordered a potentiometer that was set up for a 20-volt system, so I can actually make this go as slow or as fast as I want. And I'm also realizing that this needs a little bit more water. I'm just gonna play this through, but I'll probably put it into fast mode. Here we go. going to raise it up. So here we go. We're about to see which, if any, of these records got wrecked. So here is my star record. And so far, so good. That one looks like it came out unscathed. Lucky for me. Here is my mellow tone. Electrically recorded. Oh, I could have used this one on my credenza. Man, that one would have been fine. And again, not only does it look fine, it looks way better than it did. Next is this Brunswick. No cracks, no destruction. It looks cleaner. And let's take a look at this Brunswick. You know what? I didn't even look at what these were. I just know that they weren't anything super special. What do we have here? Bing Crosby. My girl's an Irish girl. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this Columbia. And that one looks very nice. We have our RCA Victor. I do like to let this just keep rolling. I feel like it, I don't know, allows the water to roll off it a little bit better. All right, an RCA Victor. Again, no cracks, no destruction. Everything is as you would hope it would be. Decca, here's the real test. Anyone who's ever had their favorite black label Decca crumble in their hands. And cracks are non-existent. And it is clean for whoever happened to remember what that one looked like before. The voice of Frank Sinatra. You know what? I should actually look and make sure that this one isn't nicer than the one that I have in, or the two that I have in my collection. I've got one with the folding flap, and I've got one without. This was just another 10-inch that was in there. What is this one? Tony Martin. Begin to Begin. I don't think anyone's really worried about whether or not this would have an ill effect on vinyl, because so many people use these on vinyl. I think it was just everyone assuming that it was going to destroy shellac. I don't think people quite remember what shellac has been through in its life. Yes, it's fragile. Yes, it's like glass, but you remember people treated these like garbage and they still lasted forever. And from the looks of every one of these, even an ultrasonic cleaner would not do this one dirty. I'm going to dry these, and then we will take a look at them again once they're dry, and I'll give this one a play. And one last quick check-in. People are saying, parts of my record ended up in the bottom of my bin. It ate them away. Yeah, there was visible dirt on your records, and so the visible dirt goes down and it pools up. And so some of these little black spots are what came off your record. It is the needle shavings. It is the poor care out of the sleeves. It is that visible dirt and grime that was on your beautiful 78, and now it is no longer. It's in the bin where it belongs. So here is the Enrique Madriguera and Orchestra after it has been ultrasonically cleaned. You take a look at this one and you can see that this went from what was probably a VG to an NM. The grooves on this look just about unplayed. Put it under It's a little teeny tiny mark right there. Must have been under the grunge, but anyway, we're gonna give this one a listen. And like I said, it may or may not sound better, but even if it doesn't sound any better, it certainly looks better. If it sounds worse, that is when I will start to worry. Here we go. Oh, tubes aren't warmed up yet. Oh, there's that spot. That's all we need of that. And you can go back and do a side-by-side comparison. Both recordings are in here. I don't know if that just sounded better to me or if it's because it is so much cleaner. I will tell you that this record will never touch a steel needle. And so that is perhaps the only time I will ever have to clean that record. And now it will be a part of my collection or someone else's. I will go through and clean up all the others, or dry all the others as well. But again, I just cleaned 10 records using this ultrasonic cleaner. None of them deteriorated. None of them are going to deteriorate in a year or two. I can pull out records that I've already done demos of today that I did a year ago or 2 years ago, and they're going to be fine. I think sometimes when people find a stance, they just either want to believe it or they can't imagine they ever could have possibly been wrong, and so they stick by it. But you know what? You got to try something to know. So I'm not going to put any links to any of these things because I literally don't care. Clean it by hand, clean it by ultrasonic cleaner. It just really bugs me when people speak with unwarranted confidence on a subject they know nothing about. So I decided to put on my 2 vinyls in the back. Vinyls, God, now I sound like the kids. I decided to put on my 2 10-inch vinyl records with that voice of Frank Sinatra, and I figured that while that's playing in the background, hopefully I won't get a strike from YouTube, but I went through and dried off the other records. There's only so much you can do for surface wear, but you'll notice that all dirt, all debris is gone. The luster has returned. No cracks have appeared. Couple of Bing Crosby Brunswicks. Oh, I never finished drying that one, it looks like. The records came out unscathed, including this Columbia. I mean, how often do you see Columbia red labels in that nice a shape? Still a little wet. I'll dry these again. Glenn Miller, American Patrol on RCA Victor. All right, so for those of you who remember the amount of mold and dirt on the surface, that is all now not only gone from the surface, but also gone from the grooves inside. And then finally the one that we listened to, which does turn out to be the nicer one. Who knew? Because it also looked like the ugliest one, in my defense. I wasn't just picking the one I thought looked nicest. So there we go. Thank you, Frank.